Hey everybody, Slipknot Boom here. So I'm just recording this video because this is something that's been very highly anticipated. As you know, I've had a Instagram page and a Letterboxd account where I review movies. And so I just figured it was going to be sort of inevitable that I would make this jump into movie reviews and video content. I mean, I do video content, but movie review video content, if you will. It was just sort of inevitable. So this is my debut into live action video boom reviews. And as you can tell, I'm not going to edit this video. I just kind of want it to be raw and from the heart and just sort of challenge myself in that way. And so, as you can see by the title, today, for the first video boom review, I'm reviewing 2022's Uncharted, starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Now, believe it or not, on my Instagram page and my Letterboxd, I gave it a fairly low score. But I've had some time to process, and I've thought about it, and I think it felt a little unfair. I just think I think I needed some time to ruminate on it. And now that I've had that time, well, here's this review. So, one thing about the Uncharted movie is that, let's just face it, it's kind of just another action movie, you know? Sure, it's got Tom Holland, but these days, what action movie doesn't? And sure, it's got Mark Wahlberg, but these days, what action movie doesn't? But as far as stories go, I kind of missed the whole, like, Indiana Jones vibe of, like, these Tomb Raiders and these adventures. Obviously, I watched 2018's Tomb Raider and loved it. But I don't really know what to call those movies, like Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, you know, like these adventurer people trying to find out these old mysteries, archaeologists, blah, 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 that whole stuff. That's a very nice aesthetic. And then it's an aesthetic that I really enjoy. And I want to say that I miss, but I don't really know if it was ever all too prevalent in the media anyway. It's just a certain niche that I really enjoy. Like I said, it's the aesthetic. It's the sort of vibe of it all. It's just hard to not love. Excuse me. So, that being said, enjoyed that much of it. I should say that the biggest problem for me personally from the plot, also, from this point forward, spoilers up ahead for those of you who want to watch this movie. And you should. I highly recommend it. It's been out for a while, so just try to watch it in theaters. That's probably the best experience you're going to get out of it. But if not, wait for the digital or pirate it. Anyways, speaking of pirates, the climax of this movie, on the pirate ships flying by the helicopters, oh my goodness. Cinema. There has not been this level of ingenuity in action movie climaxes in a very long time. And it's something that Hollywood was definitely missing. It was creativity, it was the boldness to do what others were afraid to do. That's what makes Hollywood great. And that's what makes Uncharted great. My biggest complaint with this movie, I would say, is the fact that it came out in 2022. It just feels like we're starting the decade off a little strong. And I'm just worried. It's like, where do you go once you reach the top? You know what I mean? Like, is the rest of the 2020s just downhill for us, like, movie-wise? I hope not. I don't want that to be the case, but it's just like coming out of Uncharted, it's like hard to see. It's hard to see anything else happening. I'm getting off track though. What I started this by saying was my problem with the movie. My biggest problem with the movie. I've said that a couple of times, but you know, biggest problem with the movie is Chloe's character. Chloe Fraser, I believe her name was. Again, been a couple months since I've seen it. A couple weeks, I should say. just the whole vibe of her sort of being a backstabber and betrayal, it doesn't really pay off. I would say it makes sense for in this world where people like don't trust each other because they're all kind of like fighting for their own thing and they're fighting for the same thing. So it makes sense that she would be that way. It doesn't really pay off. She doesn't have any sort of redemption. It doesn't lead to anything. It just is an excuse. It's weird because they use it as an excuse to get her out of there in the last act or in the last fight. But at the same time, it's also her character, so they just kind of used her against herself. It's weird. I don't really understand it, and it was something that kind of didn't sit well with me after contemplating over it for a little bit. But that being said, I just think it all worked out pretty well. Antonio Banderas, great actor. Personally, I loved him in SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water. So it was kind of nice to see him on the big screen again, because other than that, I only know him from Puss in Boots, like the character, the movie. Great movie, by the way. Yeah, so it's just sort of like, I'm just glad to see him in movies again. He did great. I was a little let down to see his death in the scene where he died. I was going to say the act, but it's probably Act 3. I just don't know for sure. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't know. But yeah, the mystery of it all, like the kind of the steps taken to get to the point. What am I trying to explain? Basically, the way that the story progresses, that's what I'm looking for. The way the mystery sort of unfolds. I enjoyed it. I think the pacing was fine. It wasn't anything to write home about, I'd say, but it wasn't shockingly out of place or anything like that. Things just sort of happened, and maybe that's all a movie needs to do sometimes. It just has to happen. That's what this movie did. This movie definitely happened. I really liked the sort of parallelism of the beginning opening flashback to the opening scene of the plane that was later, done again. The whole aesthetic of like the arms clasping like that, it happened like 3 different times. I think that was a nice little parallel that happened throughout the movie, and it really brought the movie together. It made it a circular movie, and as me and Dan's good friend Raynator would say, a good movie is circular. Something like that. So yeah, that's why I think really had the movie together. Little details like that just kind of brings it all together. Mr. Whiskers, big fan of Mr. Whiskers. I would say definitely an underrated role in the movie. But it's kind of the mindset of like no small actors or no small parts, only small actors. And that's just kind of the thing that I kind of repeat in my head whenever I'm thinking of Mr. Whiskers and the role he plays in sort of the story and the universe that they're developing here. What else to say? The score was there. It was definitely, I definitely heard it. The credits music and the credits, like the whole credit sequence was very nice, aesthetic, pleasing, had me bopping in my seat. As far as I can remember from a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I really enjoyed that they were teasing to another movie at the post-credit scene. After you love this movie so much. Okay, well, I'll admit I didn't love it at first, obviously, as you can see from my review and Letterboxd, but like, it's sort of like this idea of like, I just kind of came around to it. And so now that I have found this newfound love for it, and now I'm realizing that, oh my gosh, I'm going to get more of this. It's just sort of really satisfying and, yeah, it's satisfying. It's just sort of, I was going to say enlightening, but that's not the word I'm looking for. It's uplifting to my spirits. I'll tell you that much. That's the best way I'll put it. Because I can't find the words at the moment. Let's go to the actors. Tom Holland, I think, does a good job of playing a character that isn't crazy similar to Peter Parker. Tom Holland is a great actor, I think. He can do a lot, and he's really talented, and I firmly believe that, but he always falls into this pitfall of the biggest criticism he gets is that he's always just Peter Parker in different outfits. And I think that's not necessarily true in this one. I think he definitely tries to lean into that more mature aspect of Nathan Drake, but not so experienced, but mature, because this is obviously sort of an origin story for Nathan Drake. Sorry. Yeah, it's an origin story. So he's mature because he's an adult, but also not so mature that like he's overconfident. He is. It's an important level that I think needed a degree of nuance to sort of tightrope on that tightrope walk on that tightrope. I don't know. And I think Tom Holland did it well. As far as Mark Wahlberg, he was just Mark Wahlberg. I have nothing to say about that. Other than I think if he was on the plane during that scene, it would have gone down a little differently with how, it ended up with Chloe and Nate just like sharing in the middle of the ocean. I think it wouldn't have ended like that. It would have definitely ended a little bit better if he was on that plane, but that's not what happened. It's not what the writers intended. It's not what they wanted. So, but as a character of Sully in general, didn't really feel anything for him. I mean, he had a bit of the arc at the end when he decided to help Nathan over the gold, and I think that was charming to say the least. It was uplifting, and it was inspiring even. So that was good. I think that was probably the most character development that's happened in this movie, other than the fact that Antonio Banderas was alive at the beginning and dead by the end. That's probably the only two character developments that I can really think of. So this review is running a little long, so I'm just gonna cut it there. If you guys want to hear more, definitely just message me on Instagram and here on YouTube and leave comments. Just because I listen to the fans. Slipknot Boom does a lot of things, but the one thing he does best, I would say, is listen to his fans and does what is needed. So yeah, if you guys want to hear more about this, I can go in depth. My good buddy Damn Dan and Rainator are considering making some sort of show where they get to talk about this stuff in depth. And if that's the case, if you guys want to hear me talk about Uncharted more, then let them know and let me know, so that if that were to happen, if those plans were to continue forward, we have a topic. We already have a topic set, and it's Uncharted 2022. So definitely just let your opinions be heard. That's the most important thing here. And if you want to see more reviews, you got it. This is just sort of a way for me to kind of tread the waters and see if this is something that people are interested in, if something that I can excel in, if something that I can personally do in a way that's sort of satisfying to me, in a way that is it worth it? And I think it is. I've had fun enjoying this. I've had fun filming this for the past few minutes. And I hope you've had fun listening. But yeah, so go follow me on Instagram, and Letterboxd, Slipknot Boom. I'll leave the links in the description, and make sure to follow our PCFC Flag Instagram account. It's our Disney Pixar Cars Fan Club Flagstaff Division Instagram account. Currently, the only members are me, Damn Dan, and Rainator, but we're hoping to expand soon as we get these IDs laminated. But yeah, you'll be there for when it starts, honorarily, if you're not in Flagstaff. And if you are, awesome. Can't wait to see you at the first meeting. So yeah, check me out on Letterboxd, check me out on Instagram, check me out on YouTube, go to my channel. All it's going to be in the description. Thank you so much. You guys have been great. You guys have been a great fan base. My subscribers are growing by the second, and I really appreciate that. You guys are really inspiring for me. So yeah, I'll be back next time I watch a movie that I think is worthy of a boom review, and I'll be back. As for a message to end you guys out on, I'd say good is not something you are, it's something you do. And if something is lost, it can be found. If something is gone, it's gone, or whatever they say in the movie. Okay, bye.